Let's start off with a snowball update. And I love the new road. The road is great. Any update on the ski season plans? Beth, Holly?
Nothing really has changed since we've presented them before, but at the state level, the CDC has given all ski areas their reopening plans, and it's mostly concerning any indoor facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And they really don't say anything about outdoor, which is good, and we saw that coming. So
Right. I think last time you talked about the possibility of some outdoor tents or whatever. You're looking into that. Are we going to have anything as far as an outdoor covering or not?
probably not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mainly because everything's sold out. And because we don't really have a budget for it.
Right. Okay.
How about
Okay.
how about food service? What's that looking like?
Mark will have his trailer, and he's going to him and his crew will be the only people in the main section of the lodge, and they're going to be selling out of the bump out.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I think that's going to help people just to know that they don't have to leave to get something to eat or drink.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. How have ticket sales been? And you can update everybody on the refund policy too.
Ticket sales are great. We hit budget. We still have people buying at regular price, so that's good. The assurance policy is that if we are unable to open prior to January 1st, we will prorate something toward next season's passes.
Mhm.
If we have to close down early, prior to March 1st, we will prorate and add that to next year's season's pass purchase. And if we have to close completely, we will use those funds for your next year's season's pass.
Okay, so there's actually no cash give back. It's basically
Go toward next
credits
season.
for next year.
Yep.
Right.
It's the only way to even remotely save a budget.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. Okay. What was the final numbers on chairlift, on the chairlift rides?
I think we ended after Halloween, we ended at 34,000 and something.
Okay, and how does that compare with last year and to the budget?
Hold on 1 second, let me look. We budgeted 16,000, so we doubled that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't have that right in front of me.
That pumpkin rolling looked like a lot of fun. Were you there for that, Holly?
Yeah, we were on the deck selling tickets the whole time you're open. So yeah, it was good. We got a lot of feedback and people really want to do that again. For
Yeah.
those that didn't know, we opened up for that Saturday, October 31st, and did chairlift rides with free passes for kids that were in costume. And it was really popular, and it brought us in a little bit more money, not too much. It's pretty nominal, but it gave the kids and families somewhere to go that was fairly safe, since Pearl Street was closed. So it worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to do it even more bigger next year.
We brought in 19,000 last year in chairlift rides.
Okay,
Wow.
great. So that's a tremendous improvement,
Yeah.
almost double.
Well, I don't think anyone had anything else to do. So
Right,
It bodes well for the winter, that's for sure.
right. Okay, fine. And then for everybody, Holly, can you update us on what the toboggan championship plans are, or?
So we do have a plan that a few of us have been working on. We were going to present it to the state last week or the week before, whichever week it started spiking the COVID cases. And so I decided that we would be shot down immediately if I presented it then. So I'm just sitting on the plan. And where I say presenting it to anyone, I'm presenting it to the state's public health team, and to try to get their blessing on it first before I bring it back to the town, and it'll just make everyone feel better. But anyway, so it's in a holding pattern now until COVID starts to, cases start to drop a little bit, and it feels like we're in a little bit better place to hold that kind of thing.
Right.
And I-
Do you want to just give a brief outline of what you're thinking about for the toboggans?
Sure. We're planning to do, we're gonna have racers in pods, pods of either 20 or 25 teams. We're gonna do 2-person teams only and a maximum of 200 teams. Each pod would be given an hour time slot to do their race. So let's say pods 1 through 20, or teams 1 through 25 in pod number 1 will be racing from 8 to 9 on Saturday morning. And then pod number 2 would be from 9 to 10. And that would give them, if they're sharing toboggans, that kind of thing, they'll be able to get them back up to the top of the mountain. No spectators. We will allow reserved parking for teams, but we're going to probably limit the number of people that can be in each parking spot at any one time, and possibly allow each team member to have a pass to bring one extra person. So if a parent wanted to bring a child, or a spouse wanted to bring, or a racer wanted to bring a spouse, that kind of thing. Still have vendors, no change in prices. We haven't seriously looked at the financial aspect of it. How much.
Yeah.
We always cover the expenses. We've been typically bringing in an average of $50,000 in revenue. Will we just break even? Will we just bring in $10,000 and not have to say that we canceled this year due to COVID?
Casey's trying to get in right now.
Those are the things that we're gonna have to be thinking about and looking at, but we just have to get the plan. We have to get the plan approved first. But I have an idea of what that would be. I know that I have businesses that are looking to sponsor as well. So, but right now, it's anyone's guess.
Is it going to be televised, Holly? Will there be?
I will definitely work on a live streaming aspect of it this year. And
What?
Stuart, turn off your mute button if you want to talk.
If you have it live streaming, and advertisers probably are willing to pay more if they're going to get that kind of exposure.
Yeah.
So that could work out really well, and you could have some sort of remote sites with limited numbers of people.
Yeah, and I think that would bring in, it would either cement a sponsor, or it would bring in a new sponsor that would sponsor that kind of a thing. So we'll definitely look into that. That's on the plan.
Yeah. I mean, I could envision at either the Strom or the Strand or the Opera House, 50 people max.
Right.
And they get to watch, and there's maybe vendors there. That could be a nice sort of consolation prize for people who can't actually be on the ice watching.
Sure. And I could see.
Did you say you were going to have a video link?
We're talking about providing.
Couldn't you just do a live YouTube so anybody can watch it?
Lots of options, but you have to have someone who's actually going to be doing the filming.
Well, you could have it set on the track. You could have a stationary camera.
We could, but you got to think about power, weather, and it'll all be in the. Okay, go ahead, Stuart.
Stuart.
Last week, Lost Valley had a 5K run, and they had a YouTube camera set up to it. So you saw them taking off and then finishing the line. And I've already been talking to a couple of people about setting something up where the timing shack is, so you can see the foggage coming down and going out onto the ice. Which, because as Holly said, we're not gonna have any spectators. The whole Bougainville area is gonna be closed. The only people walking around are gonna be people wearing a bib. And what snowball staff is working. No spectators.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think it could be a pretty cool little production. I don't know if you talked to Village Soup or, one of the local channels. And since I don't watch TV, I don't even know if those exist anymore. But, I think if it's a little bit more than a YouTube with with a narrator and or some kind of a host, it could be fun.
Yep,
Good.
absolutely.
Good. Holly, have you been getting a lot of inquiries from past tobogganers about
Yes.
what's going to happen?
Yep, I get a phone call or an email probably every other day,
Mhm.
on average about it.
Yeah.
And, and all I've been telling them is that it's just, we're in a holding pattern right now and we've got a plan in place, but we can't commit right now and registration won't be open until we can do that.
Okay. All right.
And Ray, when you get a little further down the agenda, I do have some
Yeah.
information about Christmas by the Sea that I would be happy to share as well.
Why don't you share it now?
Um, so
Why don't you share it now? Yeah.
So the Parks and Rec Committee department has been tasked for the last 2 or 3 years to manage the parade. And we regularly get 30 to 40 floats in the parade. Because of COVID, we had decided to do what we're calling an upside down parade. And we were going to park the floats in the Knox Mill parking lot and have people walk by. And that way we could kind of string people out. But because of Dr. Shaw's Monday briefing and a reporter's question at the very end at the 54th minute of the broadcast about Christmas holiday events in towns, and his feeling about those, the committee met yesterday and we've decided to not do the parade at all.
Okay.
So there are some virtual things that are going to be happening. In fact, we talked about inviting Santa to come live with us on YouTube and Facebook and help light the tree still through the magic of what he does from the North Pole.
Yeah.
There's going to still be piped in music downtown, some increased decorations downtown. The chamber is working Amy Rollins, who does a great job with the scavenger hunt for Windjammer Festival. She is developing a really great do-it-yourself scavenger hunt, 12 days of Christmas. Got to find the 12 days around town, the various places. There's a couple of other things. Yeah, so that's what I've got for now. What I'm working on right now is a big announcement about inviting our community, because we're not going to be able to have a parade through town to see those lights, inviting our community to, in recognition of Dr. Shaw's request that we not socialize too much, even as families during the holidays, and quoting him what a bummer that is, and that we're going to be asking and inviting families in our communities, but also statewide, hopefully, to light your houses up this year. And, show that you're staying home and show that your family's celebrating the holidays, and you're not going to let it affect, that part of your life.
Well, you will be coming skiing, but other than that, you can stay home.
Yeah, but give everyone and that way people can drive around on their own. And when you're driving, to work or school or whatever, you'll be able to see those lights around town even more so than we usually do. So it'd be a lot of fun if we had a real groundswell and the entire state of Maine looked like Chevy Chase's house on Christmas vacation. It would be awesome.
Right. Okay. Hey, how do we get Brian on the video?
He's on his phone, so he doesn't want, he's not on.
He's on the phone? He's on his phone? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Tannery, Jeff's not here. So, Tom, you want to give us an update on what's happening with the Tannery Park proposals? Hi, Brian.
Sorry, I could see you. I didn't realize my video was not on. Apologize.
Okay.
I'm trying, but I'm unable to forward the link. Jeff never got invited, so that's why he's not on. Someone could forward him the Zoom link. I'm not really able to do it because I'm on my phone
I'll do
as
that
I'm
right
trying
now.
to.
I'll do
Okay.
Thanks so much. He'll appreciate it.
All right.
I'm going to
Okay.
mute off here.
All right, Tom, can you give us an update on the process of what's happening with the Tannery Park proposal?
Yeah. There was a select board meeting last night, and it appears what's happening in terms of the town. There's 4 proposals right now. One of them is the Friends proposal, which is the one I authored. And ours includes both the farmers market and Habitat. Now, the slightly confusing thing is Habitat also put their own proposal in because we weren't privy to all the specifics of what they'd be doing.
Mhm.
And they also wanted to have the option in case, for some reason, the town didn't want to do our proposal, they might just want to do some houses. So they left that in, but they're making it clear that they're willing to be a collaborative partner with the Friends proposal. So anyway, hopefully everybody will get that. But anyway, at the meeting last night, they basically said they're going to turn the first stage of this over to CDAC to interview all the people presenting proposals and ask the basic questions and kind of go over what the criteria that was in the RFP with the proposees. So I'm assuming, we haven't heard any details, I'm assuming they're going to invite each proposee to come and present to them. I guess this will all be done on Zoom again, which will give people a chance to, to some degree interact, I guess.
Tom, I think you are the proposer.
Right, I'm the proposer. So thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to have a lawyer on hand. Yeah, so the proposers will have some chance. Then eventually they will take their evaluations and then send them to the select board. It hasn't been determined whether, the thing I'm really curious about is whether they're going to try to approve one proposal by the select board and then put it out to vote, or, I think the better way to do it personally would be to, take at least 3 proposals and let the town vote on them. Because if they take one and it's turned down, then we're back to square one again, which wouldn't make much sense. Then they have to start all over. In regards, I assume I can talk a little bit about the Friends proposal now, since all the proposals are in. Is that true or not?
I think if anybody has any questions about that, but I think the main thing for us is if you would make sure that you could send an email about the time and information about the CDAC meetings, if anybody on this committee wants to listen in to what's going on. I assume they're going to be on Zoom and that we would be able to get in there.
Okay. Now,
ask Janice to do that.
I was told originally by Audra to join the Park and Rec Committee because they said the Park and Rec Committee would be the mechanism to bring in recreational aspects.
Right.
So if I can't even talk about it with this committee.
No, you can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and there's some exciting things. Ray was there. We met. I put out invitations to everybody on this committee. We met with a company called the American Ramp Company, which is probably the biggest builder and designer of both bicycle pump tracks, bicycle playgrounds, and skateboard parks in the country. or at least one of the biggest. I don't know if I'm not positive they're the absolute biggest, but anyway, they were coming through town and they met with us. Ray was there and I was there and I invited everybody. And they thought we had we're talking for those features back by the foundation area where it's really not buildable for much. And the DEP does not want that torn up. So these are features that could go over it. If it was a bike pump track, it would be the simplest because it could just be dirt and possibly grass. It doesn't have to be perfectly level. If it was a skateboard park, then it would need to have probably a level asphalt surface over it. So a skateboard park would be considerably more expensive. The thing I think the whole town is waiting to hear from the select board in terms of a skateboard park is whether they're going to allow them to stay where they currently moved everything to on Knowlton Street. If that was the case, our proposal would basically be promoting the pump track alone, but we have the possibility of doing both together. We do have a funder very interested right now with which would be a substantial beginning, or possibly the whole pump track, possibly. We're waiting for budget figures from American Ramp Company and all the different possible configurations. Just so everybody knows, the farmers market, while they're mentioned in all the proposals, they support the Friends proposal. They want to stay exactly where they are. They don't want to move to some indoor barn. And anyway, so they're solidly behind the Friends proposal. And Habitat is writing a letter saying they're willing to be a collaborative partner in our proposal. We also, assuming things look good, are going to apply probably for 501c3 status, so we don't have to burden the town with doing being our fiscal sponsor. I mean, we're still open to that, but I'm not sure even though they are our fiscal sponsor currently, I'm not sure, haven't had any conversations as to whether they're willing to continue to do that since this is in a proposal phase. And just to make it clear, we've talked about pavilion and all that. That's all still possible. It's just needing fundraising for each individual feature. So if anybody wants to jump on to this community proposal and get going with fundraising and design ideas for a pavilion, that's still very much a possibility. The whole point of this is really a community proposal. So anybody have any questions?
Tom, do all 4 proposals incorporate an area for a playground?
No.
I know they have to incorporate some kind of a facility or accommodation for the farmers market. But
yeah, no, two of them, the apartment building does have an area designated. It says F space is available. They do make it a qualification there.
Yeah.
And the Crane Sport proposal, Mike Mullins, does not show a playground.
Okay.
And the Habitat one is just the Habitat houses. So again, I'm assuming they'll combine that with ours since have that in our proposal.
Right.
But we've got a pretty significant playground down the street, right?
Yeah, well, we're talking about preschool, not that age group.
So younger
kids.
Yeah.
Younger kids.
Yeah.
And as natural as possible too.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. I see Jeff is with us now. Jeff, you want to give us an update on pathways?
Let's see. I think the main thing is that a couple main things. One is, I don't know how many of you noticed that on Norwood Avenue, there are some new painting lines, painted lines. They're just dashed lines going down the sides of the road, and there's no explanation for what they are. That is the format for what is called, or what are called, advisory lanes, which is a new concept for Camden. And we will work towards educating the public as to exactly what they are.
You gonna give us a clue? What are they?
It's just a short section from Route 1 to Pearl Street. So it's a good little test, and we'll put up some PR, and the goal is to put an informational website out there as well. And on the website, basically what we'll say is those, just imagine two fog lines going down on each side of the road. Instead of them solid white, they're dashed, just dashed white lines. And the object is to move cars to drive down the middle of the road, which leaves those two little shoulders designated by the white dotted lines for bikes and pedestrians. So it pushes the cars to the middle. When a car comes the other way, you're allowed to move into the shoulders if there's nobody in there. No bikes, no people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No?
Okay.
Is there a reason they're not calling those bike lanes?
Yeah, because the concept of a bike lane is that they're supposed to be for bike lanes and nothing else. But the idea here is that the cars are allowed into the bike lanes. This is a new concept. Who knows?
Do you need your?
Maybe it'll work. Stuart, did you have a question?
Jeff,
Brian, go ahead.
yeah, I've got a question. Does anybody drive down Norwood? Okay, so it's a great place to test this concept. That's all.
Yeah.
Sorry, snarky feedback alert.
Okay. All right.
Tanner, do you need your passport or anything? Well, that's where
Brian, go on mute. Mark.
Yes, I drive down Norwood, and the idea of those lines, it's a good idea because it keeps the traffic in the middle of the road, which is where they drive normally. It just
That's
kinda,
right. It's exactly right, Mark.
solidifies the idea of keeping traffic in the middle of the road. And on most side streets like Norwood or Willow or those kinds of streets, it works. I'm not sure how it would work on Mechanic Street or, some of the more traveled roads.
That's a good point. And Mark, just so you know, the advice from the Pathways Committee for Mechanic Street was to do striped fog lines, like a standard road.
Right.
That's what's going to be on Mechanic. That'll be done in the spring, so we don't have to repaint it.
Anybody know why the painting on Mechanic Street was kind of a brownish yellow on the lines instead of white or yellow? Did somebody get the paint mixed up?
Did they paint it this week?
The lines, the parking spaces and the crosswalk on Mechanic down
Knowlton?
by the old Kodak building and down towards the barber shop
Knowlton.
are kind of an oddball color.
I think it was during a rainstorm this summer and there was rust. I think it got stained.
Okay.
Don't know. Stuart?
I just wanted to add about the lines on Norwood Avenue. I went through Norwood the other day and noticed them. And if you do, the only question I have, what if someone has a get together and you got 8 or 9 cars parked in front of the house and the person across the street has company? It's going to get down Norwood Avenue. It's not really that big, but I'm just adding to the conversation.
Yeah, it's a tricky part. I think I have to look into it, but my understanding is one of the differences between fog lines, those solid white lines, and advisory lines is advisory lanes is that they're not supposed to, abutters are not supposed to park in the advisory lane versus a fog line, they're allowed to park in the shoulder area. So if someone had 8 or 9 cars, they would have to move their left side tires completely off the pavement. That's the concept. I need to check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the setup, Stuart. And it's also another reason why we were wrestling with that on Mechanic, because of all the people on Mechanic who also park on the street. And that would can be an awkward situation. So these advisory lanes are a good idea.
So
What's
get
that, sir?
back to normal life again, and we have Halloween, and parents drive their kids around and park in front of houses. We're gonna have to call in the National Guard to protect these side streets.
Absolutely. You can submit that to our senator and see what he says. No, we'll just need to check on that. I'll get back to you and confirm one way or another. Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, now that the eminent domain situation was resolved, when will the work on the sidewalk begin?
That's a good question. That's the Shirt Tail Park. And I was like over the moon that everybody understood the motivation behind that, and that it passed so well. The next step is that it has to go out for bid. So who knows? Because the bid will come back, and then it depends on how much our budget is, whether the responses match the bids.
Right.
It's also footnote tied to the same bid, which will go out in the same package for the sidewalk to Maritime Farms. Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm clear, where will the new path start?
The
I know it goes
one?
to Shirt Tail, but where does it start?
Yeah, well, you can think of it starting at Shirt Tail on the Shirt Tail side and coming towards town until, not Thomas Street. What's that next one up?
The,
Matthew John.
Matthew John.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
so-
at Matthew John, it'll cross onto the non-river side and connect into the existing sidewalk there.
Okay, so it goes as far as the existing sidewalk.
Well, but it's on the other side of the road, so there has to be a crosswalk.
Yeah.
And the sight lines there are good, which is why we ended it there. Mark?
yeah, that proposal has been in the works for quite a while,
Yeah.
and it is tied with the parking, the sidewalk down on the other side of town. And they've all been approved a bunch of times, but it is contingent on state funding and state budgeting as well, so.
Well, Mark, the state, the matching funds from the state are there and waiting. The question is whether, because so much time has gone by, whether the state and the town matching funds are enough.
The question is whether the bids will come in what is in the budget, so,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
And then let's see. We are, this might be interesting to you. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if you picked up, maybe not. There is a new concept that the state of Maine has got behind, which is called, what is it called? It's the AARP stuff. Age friendly or something communities.
Mhm.
And if you become an age friendly community, then you qualify for AARP grants. And the Pathways Committee, after talking to Bicycle Coalition of Maine, they said that our committee would work towards completing that application. And Jeremy and Audra said that's great. So if we do that, I'll let you know, because that may be a source of funding for stuff. So,
Okay. All right.
Casey, did you have your hand up or are you just waving? Just waving. Okay.
Muted, Casey.
Just waving?
She's just waving. She's waving at the kids. Bye-bye. I
Just,
think.
yeah, just waving at kids coming in the door. Sorry.
Okay.
But hi to you all too.
Okay, hi, Casey. Okay, well, now that we got a sidewalk maybe going up to Shirt Tail, Beth, what is the going on with Shirt Tail plans as far as any more design work, et cetera?
Jeff Senders has the plan and the survey. He's working on the survey of the property and really just working on a bid package to figure out how to change the parking area and what we had discussed in the earlier meetings about the park. So
Right.
once we know how much it's going to cost, then we'll need to budget for it.
Mhm. Okay, fine. Signage,
And let me also say that I had him add it, a little area for possibly a swing set or some type of playground equipment.
good, okay. Signage, those gonna go up in the spring, Holly, or?
Yeah, with the cost of the materials this year, we're kind of just gonna wait it out and do it in the spring.
Okay. I was wondering, are we gonna replace the sign at Lake Beach or stay with the one that's there?
That one, I think, that one's gonna stay. That was a
That
gift
one's
of the town, so.
Okay, all right. Can you tell us a little bit about, I know they had like a round the mountain trail opening and they have put up a new kiosk or two at the entrance there at the Snowball. How is that going?
Well, my understanding is it's going well. It's been very busy. Lots of people out here. It's a fabulous trail if you haven't been on it yet. And it's only going to get more improved. So, but it's not complete. They are estimating another at least year before the whole thing is complete. And the section that we are going to help Coastal Mountain Land Trust with, we'll be working on next spring. So,
Which section is that?
it's rerouting the cooler trail a little bit so that it's easier to get up to that level.
Okay, because the way the trail starts from the parking lot right now, it's not going up the cooler trail, it's going up its own little side trail, right?
It begins over by the toboggan parking area.
Yeah.
And it loops in and around and it goes above the conveyor. Back around above the pump track.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the woods a bit to get away from that first climb on the cooler trail.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're just rerouting that a little bit. We're going to help them with some materials and some signage. But that's the plan.
Okay, fine. All right. And one other thing, and I emailed everybody a list of properties. And I'm thinking that since we really can't get together and do site visits, that it might work if everybody would select a few locations to take a walk on this winter and just see what you think is needed or what kind of issues are there. Is everybody up for taking a couple of locations? And I divided them up into groups so they're kind of close by.
Yeah, Ray, I looked at the list and I'm glad to take everything that's down here by, the town green and
Those first three. I was
Lake
thinking you
Beach
could
and
do,
the
right?
lookout by the Curtis Island. And I gotta tell you, one of the things I've noticed, and Peter Lindquist has noticed it too, is that there is a fairly regular trash disposal going on at the town green. People drive in, get out with a bag of trash and go over and put their trash in one of the barrels. And if it's full, they'll go find another one and put it in. And I don't know if this has ever been an issue before or if
Happen all the time.
Has it really?
Oh,
I mean, when the lady pulls up in her Volvo and does it, I'm like, you can afford a trash bag, but
People come off their boats in the harbor in the summertime, just empty their trash or in the barrels downtown.
well, I can certainly understand at the town landing, but not up here. People are driving in and doing it.
Yeah, you're not seeing it because you live right there now.
Yeah, I see it all the time. So I didn't know if that might be a place for a sign because, you know, people should be paying to have their trash disposed of. These are not, I see them, these are not people passing through town. These are people who live here. So, I might start taking pictures. We'll see. I was kind of amused at first because but now it's like, that's not funny anymore.
I think it's a good thing to bring up to the select board too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, let them talk about it, and so it's probably a wider watched meeting as well to get the word out.
So, you know, I've seen in some towns, they deal with it by making it difficult to put anything large in the can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it happens all the time, Sarah, at like some remote parks, like Shirt Tail, we will get people's household paint and just everything that people just don't want to have to pay for at the dump.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Okay. So on this,
Mark's got a question.
Can I make a comment on that?
yes, Brian, Mark.
The idea of people putting trash in there, I think it's kind of the lesser of two evils. If we try and stop them from doing it, we're going to find the trash on the side of the road somewhere. And I think that's a whole lot worse problem.
Well, it's a sad commentary, Mark, but you're probably right.
It's the way people are. Last year, when the last time I helped with the cleanup thing, and I was walking along Shirt Tail, I must have found 20 or 30 dog bags where people
Oh yeah.
they put it in a bag,
Yeah,
but then
no,
they
that's
just
great.
toss the bag.
Yeah.
So it's
Just to preserve it a little longer.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as looking at the different locations there, would everybody be comfortable with me just sending out a list of which locations and divide them up? Ones that are sort of, you know, a couple that are close by, package them together for everybody. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, we can't go as a group to do it. So if we can do that and just look at what you think of as I put down current needs and then future possibilities, really. Okay? All right. Is there anything else anybody wants to bring up or we need to talk about? Brian? I see Brian's hand up. Can't hear you. I think Brian's still muted. Oh. No? All right. Everybody's on, but I don't see anybody. Okay, does anybody have anything else to bring up? No? I think we're done.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks, everybody.
Great. Good to
Right.
see you.
See ya.
Okay, fine. All right.
Bye.
Have a
Go.
happy and safe Thanksgiving.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
But
Now Brian's trying to talk. Brian, are you on there?
Oh. All right, I'm running home to eat and then